When I stepped out, it didn't seem to bother him at all that I was a black woman. He just saw dollar signs. I wore a beige suit and a tiny fox fur I had purchased in admiration of Ada Lurch's style. He shook my hand too vigorously and hopped up the stone steps like a man who had just won the lottery. The wood floors and wood pillars inside were just what I had expected. It was so upscale that you couldn't have flowers in the front yard without the approval of the homeowners association. They had more restrictions than a pimp had for a hooker, but I wanted that house. I was home. All I had to do was figure out how I was going to get a loan for a 4-bedroom, $20,000 brick house. In the 1960s, that was equivalent to a $250,000 house now. I had half that amount in the bank, but didn't want to go around advertising on some loan application where a black woman got that sort of money. Babe saw it differently. He believed that we cry about so many things and put it on race rather than just figure out how things are done. That was hard to swallow, considering everything happening around us in Cleveland and the nation at that time. What I took from his words was that I could complain about the state of things in the country and want a house in Shaker Heights. Or I could use the intelligence that had always served me well and figure out how to get that house. Babe reminded me that he had sold some of my pieces to bank presidents. So off we went to see Mr. Maury Nidus. He was the president of my bank. He had never met me, but when he saw me with Babe, he knew who I was. I told him about the house I wanted to purchase and where it was located. He didn't ask about my credit. He asked, "What do you currently net yearly on the jewelry you sell?" I looked at Babe because I was thinking this was some kind of setup. Babe nodded ever so gently. I said with my head up, "Around $50,000. He got up from the desk. I whispered to Babe, "What the hell?" He tapped my shoulder and whispered back, "It's fine, it's fine." Mr. Nidus came back and said some Mission Impossible sounding shit. "The phone will ring. Just answer it." The three of us sat there, and sure enough, the phone rang. It was a loan officer who simply asked me my name, and that was that. I ended up with a loan. The house in Shaker Heights was all mine. I didn't like it one bit when Babe started bringing potential buyers to my new house. "You don't have that kind of clout in my life to take center stage like that." I was so upset with him. It wasn't uncommon for somebody white to come to a house in Shaker Heights, but I didn't want folks who were buying for me to be in my home. It was too much like shitting where you eat. Again, he reminded me that if a person had any political status and was interested in buying a piece, they had to come see me. According to him, these people were my freedom. I wouldn't have to worry about the police locally if I was selling to them and everybody they were in cahoots with. I calmed down a bit. Babe's income was tied to my actions. He wasn't going to do anything to get too far on my bad side. He sometimes got $12,000 or $13,000 from me stealing one piece. If a fencer was earning that today, he'd be netting $100,000 on each piece. People took one glance at someone who looked like an upstanding, well-dressed Jewish man and bought from him much faster than if they saw the black woman behind it all. Some of my most consistent buyers were the Leonardo brothers. They were Cleveland mafia who had their hands in the city's money, everything from bail bonds to bars and clubs. People didn't know that Frank and Dominic orchestrated their movements and that they lived on a tab connected to these two. Babe often sold the wedding sets I stole to the Leonardo family for a wedding that was soon to come. For a long time they had known my name, but they had never seen me because Babe was the seller. I didn't mind being connected to them via Babe's sales, but honestly, they made me nervous. I didn't like unpredictable shit. That all changed one day when Babe needed to meet Frank Leonardo at the